Welcome to the Zono Sports Show, where you know Zonos. Los Angeles All-Star Weekend was engaging to the casual fan. The NBA had a smorgasbord of components that made the weekend watchable. Now, when I say that, I mean there were things and events that took place that we found comical, we found interesting. They were all engaging. Now, Devin Booker, he's a three-point contest winner. 20 for 25 threes in the final round of this competition against Klay Thompson. I really like this Devin Booker kid because he's a guy who, when I think about Devin Booker and I watch his eyes the entire competition, he don't care about all these extra festivities. He feels like he should be playing in the actual All-Star game. If you watched him, he was okay with winning the three-point competition, but the way he shot the ball and the stoic look on his face lets me know that that's not something that he's content with. He wants some more. And that's what I want out of a star. Phoenix, you better do something soon. The dunk contest was Larry Nance Jr., Dennis Smith Jr., Victor Oladipo, Donovan Mitchell. Now, Donovan Mitchell, the Louisville kid, took home that award, won the slam dunk competition. However, I was very impressed by the best dunk of the night, which was clearly by Dennis Smith Jr. with the through the legs, reverse hand. I really like Dennis Smith Jr. I think he's an explosive player. Larry Nance had the cradle, mocked his father. That was amazing as well. And then we saw Victor Oladipo with the Black Panther dunk. That was pretty good. However, I think the NBA All-Stars done a better job of putting together this weekend, Friday, Saturday, with the way they're presenting these activities with the celebrity basketball game, because they're making sure that they're making changes each year to accommodate the common fan, the casual fan, people who don't typically watch the NBA. So I like that the fact that they didn't time it this year, the dunk contest. It was just, you get 3 attempts. If you miss them all, they're bad. So that definitely made it more entertaining to watch because guys knew that they had to get it early. They only get 3 tries. So also, we got to talk about the game, right? There was a lot of stuff that went on. Kevin Hart hosted the introduction, which was a little bit weird. It was different. You know, they had Queen Latifah come out. They had Migos perform. There were numerous things they had in the beginning of the game that made you think, this might be actually okay to watch. Now, I really like the fact that Kevin Hart, when he introduced every single person, he had a joke for him. He talked about LeBron. He talked about Anthony Davis and his commitment to that eyebrow. He did a great job getting the fans kind of riled up a little bit right before the game so they could enjoy themselves. Now, the national anthem by Fergie, everybody talked about it. I mean, for me, it sounded like a hurt, injured, in distress cockatoot. But she tried. She did something different. She called it bluesy. People called it a sexy rendition. It was a fresh approach, I'll tell you that. But Fergie, amidst all the criticism, came out today and actually said that she did not intend to disrespect the anthem. She loves the country, and she just wanted to try something different and thought it would be artistically creative. Well, Fergie, it wasn't. It was a hot mess, but we all make mistakes, and I'm sure that you'll turn for that one sooner than later. Team LeBron beats Team Steph. LeBron added a trophy to his case, another All-Star MVP. That's his third. 29 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. I don't know who would have won it for Team Steph's when I looked at those stats. I like this game because there was a new level of competitiveness. The NBA players have been hearing the past few years, we don't want to watch you guys play in the All-Star game. You do too much. You're hot dogging. You're not playing real basketball. Well, they didn't do much of that in this All-Star game. They had their moments. However, for the most part, that contemporary blood really provided some added competition. Joel Embiid was rough. He was rough. He made sure that he let people know that he's not just there to hang out with the guys. He's there to actually win an All-Star game. I really liked his competitiveness and the rivalry that's going on with him and Russell Westbrook. Giannis, he played very hard. Russell Westbrook, of course, played hard. Paul George. The guys really showed themselves to be NBA players and not just showboats on a basketball court on a Sunday that we really never cared about before. The second half stories of the season, there are many things that people are wondering about. Now, before I go to that, I'd like to definitely mention the ratings were down for this All-Star game. However, I think they'll be higher next year because people are going to want to see what happens with the draft when it'll be televised live. I know I want to see that. Adam Silver, keep it coming. You're doing pretty good. Now, the second half stories, what will LeBron do? Will he go to L.A.? Will he stay in Cleveland? That's what we all want to know. I honestly think he'll stay in Cleveland because he doesn't want to be criticized and crucified by the city of Cleveland again, which I don't think they can do because he's brought them a championship to that town, which they never had before. So definitely think that's something to look forward to. And then also this new playoff format on potentially adding a 1 through 16 seed component to the playoffs opposed to East versus West. I like the idea. Nobody cares about Tupac versus Biggie. We want to know about who are the best 16 teams in the NBA. Put them up against each other so we can get the best matchup. Now, Kobe is being Kobe. He kept it real. Basically said the Lakers, y'all need to stop begging people to come play in this purple and gold, because if you want to be great, you should just want to come here. So I definitely understand Kobe's point, but he's got to understand too, the Lake Show ain't the same show. Now, NCAA hoops-wise, Trae Young, he's been kidnapped by the basketball gods. OU, Oklahoma, lost to Kansas last night, gave up 100 points. That's the first time in Big 12 history that 100 points was given up in a Big 12 game that did not require overtime. Oklahoma's lost 6 straight. Will they or will they not make the tournament? I think they will, just because they have a player like Trae Young. Right now, Trae Young, though, he was held to a season low of 11 points, 3 for 13 shooting. Bro, you're starting to look like you need to come back to school for a year, and there's nothing wrong with that. I would just continue to hoop, get better, listen to Coach Lon Kruger. But right now, the NBA looks a little far-fetched. And I'm just being frank about that. I think he's great. He can shoot the deep ball. He can dribble. He can pass. However, teams have figured him out, which means that if they figured you out this fast in college, it ain't going to be much easier in the pros. Trust me. The AP top 5 poll is UVA number 1, Michigan State number 2, Villanova number 3, Xavier number 4, Duke number 5. Now, Michigan State, they can win their conference tonight. Duke, honestly, for me, is the most capable team of this top 5. I think with the depth that they have, the senior leadership with Grayson Allen, and he comes to play every night, regardless of what you think about him on the floor and his behavior, which I think he's been outstanding this year. I think Duke with Wendell Carter and Marvin Bagley definitely pose a threat to every single team in the country because of their front court dominance. I really like the fact that Coach K, he's worked around these rosters and put DeLaurier in there, and he's moved guys around so that everybody's ready for the tournament. But, yeah, Virginia plays defense. Miles Bridges is great. Mikal Bridges for Villanova, they're great. Xavier, Trayvon Blewett, the senior, he's great. But Duke is by far the most capable team of winning the national championship. And down the stretch here, the next 2-3 weeks of the season, when we get into conference tournament play and everything, I'm curious to see how these teams all perform. So, also, I wanted to talk about the NFL. Now, the draft is fast approaching for the NFL. That's April 26th. That's when that begins. However, off-season headlines are all the league has right now. Devin McCourty came out and said that Malcolm Butler knew all week he wouldn't play in the Super Bowl. And I have questions about this because there were several players that reported to Josina Anderson that they had no idea that Malcolm Butler didn't play, and they knew that Malcolm Butler didn't know that he would play. So I'm not sure what's going on in Foxborough, but if I were these guys, I would just move on from this and not even continue to talk about it. Definitely not something I would continue to discuss, especially with these facts that kind of refute one another. Will Dez Bryant be a Cowboy next year? You know, I talked with the boys the other night. Dez Bryant, he's not really an elite receiver. I can think of 10 receivers that are better than Dez Bryant. He's a good receiver, but he ain't a star. And Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott, they're definitely the Cowboys' cornerstone of the offense. And I don't think that Jerry Jones or the front office wants to continue putting up with Dez's antics because they don't outweigh his play on the field. MLB spring training began for numerous clubs. The Yankees are the Warriors of baseball. Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton are now paired together, and it's going to be interesting to see how Giancarlo Stanton does with sharing the spotlight in New York with Aaron Judge because, mind you, he was a franchise player in Miami. He was a guy that people came to the stadium to see. Of course, they'll still come see him, but will it turn into a popularity contest? Will they be trying to outdo each other at the plate? And will that turn into a bunch of strikeouts for Stanton and Judge? Curious to see how that works. Spring training, I'm sure we'll hear more about how they're playing and working together. But they seem excited. All rise in New York. Next show, we will wrap Winter Olympics. Definitely make sure you watch the women's hockey gold medal game versus Canada. They're bitter rivals. They do stories about it all the time. I look forward to seeing what these women do because they've been talking about it. I've seen interviews on TV. They've been talking about this hockey game. So definitely support your country. Go USA. Also, the men have a quarterfinal as well that they've advanced to. So definitely thank you for checking out the Zono Sports Show. I always have the juice for you. We talk about the hottest stuff here. Not everything, but we get in what we can. Thank you for watching the Zono Sports Show, where you know Zonos.